T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey, yo, my mic, it's working right. And you are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. Welcome to the Trap Talk Reptile Podcast. How are you, everybody? Miss you. Episode 335. I'm your boy, MJ. If this is your first time tapping in, do your boy a favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell. That way you're on top of every single podcast I drop here on YouTube. I'm on all the major audio platforms such as Spotify, Apple, Buzzsprout, Google, all the major stuff, right? So if you listen to me on those platforms, please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to those platforms as well, man. Yeah, definitely leave me a review because I read them and I really appreciate it. I feel like reviews on audio platforms are a lot more genuine versus just like, oh man, I heard something. You know, either way, thank you so much, man. I love you guys all for giving me the love and support. I got to say, every time I take a week off now, I kind of get like, I feel like it's been a long time. But trust me, I ain't never missed no steps because if it's one thing I'm very excited to talk to you guys tonight about, it's just how everything's going right now as far as my own collection and everything else. But just want to say tonight's episode is brought to you by my good buddy, Gary Shavino over at GS Reptiles. Please do me a favor, head over to Gary Shavino's YouTube, type in GS Reptiles, hit that subscribe button for my boy Gary. Also, go give him a follow on Instagram. I got to tell you, if you're into arboreal snakes, into different types of species of snakes, I'm telling you, this is your guy. This is your guy. He's been around the game for quite a while. And I got to say thank you for your love and support, Gary. And your support really means a lot. And not only your support, your friendship. He's my good friend, Gary Shavino. Appreciate you so much. I also want to say tonight's episode is brought to you by Freedom Breeder, the #1 stainless steel rack company since the 90s. Jesse, man, this FB90, I think the style, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, guys. We're talking, all right, cool. You got the species of snakes down. Well, now why don't you go memorize the Freedom Breeder series of racks? I mean, I will someday, right? But FB90 is what I got, and super sick. Has a window. I am doing, first and foremost, follow me on Instagram, Trap Talk God 619, because I did a live on how that looks as far as the aftermath of me building it. But I also edited a vlog of me building it and showing you how easy it is to just do this on your own. Even if you're like a little weakling, you know, I got to tell you, you got to be somewhat tall. If you're like really short, you might want a stool. But other than that, I think you're good. It's really awesome. It's like playing Connect 4. It's so cool. So be ready for that. It's going to be great. My YouTube is the Trap Vlogs on YouTube. Okay. So make sure you go subscribe to that YouTube channel, especially if you're into like what everything's behind me. I got emerald tree boas, green tree pythons behind me. Dude, got some sick shit right in front of me right now. I haven't even revealed it yet, but I got some new stuff in front of me. I'm gonna keep it on the hush. And then I got, anyways, I got a lot of stuff going on. And so I put this all on my YouTube channel called the Trap Vlogs, where all about the reptiles, just like this podcast. And but I share in depth on how things are going, good and bad. I mean, I put it all out there. Okay. So yeah, go fuck with my channel, the Trap Vlogs. And let's see. Ooh, if you're looking for exclusive content, if you're new into the game, but you want to meet some real down-to-earth people, like especially people who can put you on the path to like many other cool projects, because I get it. Ball pythons are great, or just green tree pythons are great, or just emerald tree boas are great. I'm not gonna lie, the last two are just great on their own. But the first one's right. Come on, you need something else. You need diversity. I have a good buddy of mine who's going to be hanging out with us right now. And, I feel like he could be full successful if he just wanted to do ball pythons, but I feel like he refuses to just do ball pythons. And because it's all about diversity as far as wanting to get this going and learning and stuff like that. So anyways, join the Trap Talk Patreon family, okay? Because the best way of connecting to people, I feel like, for sure, is joining Patreon families, for sure. So many great ones out there. But I'm so confident and so happy about you meeting the right people, just like as far as on a diversity level goes. When it comes to Patreon family, I love my Patreon family. I really am very, very proud of who the Patreon members I have. Again, the guy on the other side who's joining us tonight is one of the Patreon members. He's one of the like celebrity Patreon members, I would say I have. But anyways, guys, join the Trap Talk Patreon family if you want to get connected, if you want to tap in. Coolest Patreon family in the game. But listen, tap in with over 160 trappers when you join the Discord, okay? The Discord is 24/7, never stops going down when it comes to learning, talking about reptiles, so many different species of reptiles. We even sell, we even trade, buy, scammer alerts. I mean, we got people a part of this Patreon family member who's been scammed a lot before. So we look out for it. Dude, nobody gets bamboozled in this family. Shit. Anyways, Patreon members, I love you guys so much. Also, exclusive content to the Patreon account as well. I do a lot of special stuff for the Patreon. Get together on Sundays. Anyways, thank you so much to my Patreon members. Listen, I got to say, there's so much more I do want to talk to you guys about. But I want you guys to hang out, okay? Because I got a buddy of mine who's going to talk to us right now about some reptile keeper problems. I mean, we all got problems, right? And I'm sure like everyone's out there like, ooh, what's MJ? What problems are MJ going to bring up, you know? I mean, shit, I could pick a lot, but I want to talk about it all, I guess. Either way, I feel safe. I don't want to say safe. I feel loved for having this guy coming and sitting down with us, because he's no stranger to the podcast, to the channel, to the family. Can you guys guess who it is? Good news, bad news. Bad news is short planned, so this isn't going to be a typical 3.5, 4 hour. Good news is it's going to be something like that. So it's going down. Okay, episode 335, early birds. I love you guys. Totally fucking forgot about you guys. But guess what? I'll give you a shout out after we bring on my buddy. I can't see his name, but he's coming on. Let's go. Gee!
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes,
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up.
And we are live with Brian Cusco.
Whoa. You weren't live that whole time before that?
My friend, my brother, Papa Cusco. How are you?
Popping.
How's everything going, man? 4 babies plus 2 adults under one household. How's it going?
Yeah, 2 adults is it's debatable, but it's going well. You know, most of us are taking care of each other when we're supposed to be, and it's going really well, to be honest. Had little baby boy from about 4 to 7 this morning. Was that this morning? Was it yesterday? I don't know. It all starts to blend together after a little while. Yeah, no, it's going good, man. Little dude is awesome. He's starting to smile, you know.
Can we get little dude's full name? Does he have a middle name? I'm just curious what the full lay down is. Go ahead.
Makai Alexander Cusco. That's the little dude. Makai, yeah. Means towards the ocean in Hawaiian. But he's awesome, dude. You'll know soon enough what I'm talking about when I say when they smile at you for real the first time, it's pretty special because they, something I've noticed with babies is they come into the world ready to, like, crying comes quick. Crying's like instant almost, like everything's horrible. That happens right away. It takes them a while to start like smiling. They'll start having these little dream smiles where they're asleep and maybe do a little like but they're sleeping. They don't even know they're doing it. And then for them to consciously smile, it takes a little while. It's like you got to earn it almost.
I gotta have to ask you because for the most part, your children in age are pretty close. They're not too far apart as far as the way. Because
he's the furthest.
Okay. So, is it like? Are they all like? As far as what you're seeing with transition, as far as the crying going into the laughter, like, I mean, is it almost like clockwork for all your kids, or are the personalities already different at this young as a baby? I'm curious.
You'd have to ask my wife. She have a better take on that, I'd say. But they're all similar in that they all cry first. I think that's true of all human babies, though. I don't think there's any that come out just like, hi. I don't think that's the way it goes. You come in and like, life sucks. Why'd you do it? And then you got to teach them. No, I know. It's broken, but it's okay. We're gonna be okay. We'll get there. We'll get to the smiles. I think.
And the little ones are taking it pretty well, huh? Like, I mean, they're sure they love them, and
oh yeah. Noah tried to stay up for for the birth, and he was there the whole time while she was in labor till like 15 minutes before the baby was actually born. He knocked out on the couch, just and when Hillary's stuff, when she started getting a little more like like the contractions, Noah was over on the couch with two huge pillows on each side of his head, just like no, don't want to hear that. But he fell asleep 15 minutes before. First thing, like as soon as he's born, Leia says to Hillary, like, "Oh, mommy, you did such a good job." And then she's like bringing her coconut water, and right away she's like, "Okay, we got to get his clothes on. All right, we got to get his diaper on." And so it's definitely different now versus, say, having a two and a half year old and a newborn versus having a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 5-year-old and a newborn. Like, there's so much more helping hands now versus like two people. You had two little babies basically you had to take care of at the same time. So it's definitely less work now. But granted, there are still. It's not like the older kids aren't without their issues. So there are more issues.
Oh, yeah, this just don't go away. Okay. So one thing you always seem to outdo yourself is, for instance, what I know in this industry, no one else has ever put out like any kind of style of content the way you do, man. And even though it seems like holy shit, like, obviously I'm getting to your wife delivering the baby in the living room, which I knew that was a thing, but holy shit, the way that was documented it felt like a movie, right? But what made it so like heartwarming and awesome was obviously seeing all the family emotionally excited and happy, and your wife like right there in the moment, and then here comes the dog, and I'm like, this is too perfect. I was like, I wanted to cry. It was like out of a perfect picture movie. Did you get any like lashback for that? I just feel like that would offend some people for whatever reason, like especially like people who can't have kids. I feel like they'd be offended by that or something. But like, did you get anything like any kind of pushback for doing something like that?
Not this time. We had Leia up on YouTube as well when she was born. We did that.
I remember that was inside the hospital though, right?
Yeah, well, it was a birth center, so not an actual hospital. It was a birth center close to a hospital. Yeah, I got that time I did, and it was just people saying like, "Oh, I can't believe that you would show your wife giving birth." I remember some of those comments. None of those came in this time, and maybe I didn't make it clear on the first one. But it's not like I just filmed her and was like, "All right, it's going on YouTube now." Like, I asked her like, yeah, "Are you okay with this?" I asked her permission before I put her on the internet, and she says, I'm actually surprised sometimes. So I'll show her the final edit and be like, "So is this okay? Like, can we show this?" And And there was one clip, I think she's like, well, maybe we can take that one out. And I was like, okay, yeah, perfect. We'll take that out, and everything else okay. And she's like, yeah, that's good. So it's her prerogative, as far as if she didn't want to show any of it on the internet, then it wouldn't be there. I leave it up to her because it's her. But no, nothing but positive comments, which was great, because by the nature of the internet, you expect at least a couple. But
I think it gives like a lot of shows a lot of strength that Hillary has and confidence of herself, because I think a woman is a beautiful thing. Like God created, God created a woman in my eyes, and I just feel like after seeing Lily be pregnant, I look at women differently now. It's like, oh my God, like it's just almost like I've always kind of treasured the floor Lily walks on, but now I like love her even intensely more. And I just feel like I love women in general more for what they do and what they have to go through for this to happen. You know what I mean? Like it's a really cool feeling, and for Hillary to be able to have, like I said, the confidence to share that to the world. Because think about like this. I know growing up, learning about health stuff, you see naked women and stuff like that. Like it's common, like, you know what I mean? Like it's, I don't know, maybe just Hillary just has the right act for it, I guess, or like,
Yeah, well, we kept it tasteful. It's not like she was like completely naked,
Exactly. Right.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so listen, man. So many problems come with what we do as far as what we love, family stuff, of course. Like it's, as much as we're talking about you having, now 4 lovely children. Definitely ups and downs, right? Like there's always stuff to deal with. I gotta say, right?
Yeah, this life has its ups and downs, no doubt about it, man. There's brokenness, things die, and there's problems. It's part of life right now.
Do you think there's just so many problems happening to one person where they just don't kind of see a light out of the tunnel? Where, I don't know, because we got to admit, negativity comes with problems, right? Like, a lot of people aren't happy for other people if their life is just not as good for whatever reasons. It is. A lot of people do have really shitty situations in life, right? But, how does anyone out there kind of grasp for hope when they just don't feel like anything ever is going their way, And when I say that, because any unhappy person, anything around them is going to be unhappy because of them. And I know that from experience, like when I was that miserable, anything that was in my way was going to be miserable too. You know what I mean? So.
Well, there's certainly darkness that people experience that what you're saying, where there's like, don't see a light at the end of the tunnel type of thing.
Yeah,
that happens. There's suicide happens. So that's like the darkest spot, I think, that it goes, if you're truly that unhappy, you don't see a light at the end of the tunnel so much that you just end your own life. That's about as dark as I think it gets as far as human existence. That's the darkest moment. I don't remember exactly which question was, sorry, but it can get really dark. And if you're that spot, hopefully you have somebody that would recognize that in your life that you can reach out to them. But even then, there's folks that do have people that want to help them, but then there's nothing that it seems they can do to alleviate their pain, or, even if they have people to reach out to, sometimes people don't know exactly what to say, or because you can get so caught up in your own thing sometimes that you don't feel like anybody really understands out there.
Yeah.
I have some friends that are kind of riding that line right now, and I'm doing my best to help them see that there is light, and that it is going to be, there is something to live for, and that you don't need to end it prematurely, with your own hand. Because obviously I see value in every human life. And especially my friends, that goes without saying. I see value in all human life, regardless of who it is. But my friends, I obviously have a special thing for that, and so I try to be there. But it's, everybody's got their thing to deal with, and sometimes I feel like we're getting a little deeper. I thought we were going to talk about reptiles, but
it's going to get to reptiles. But it just happens to be the way the
sure.
top is flowing right now, because you understand, like, my biggest escape for any time I feel depressed or down or whatever it is that you want to call it is the animals. I can snap out of it just by being in this room. You know what I mean? Because this brings me so much happiness. I feel like some people might be in my position where they have animals, but that's not even enough, right? You know, I don't know. Like at the end of the day, I just feel like life is so worth so many things, right? And this is kind of weird because I wasn't just trying to talk about life. I was trying to talk about like how problems come with whatever it is that we love to do. For instance, keeping reptiles, right? I was talking about before we went live that animal that you had that you were very, man, you love this animal, and I always love this species of snakes, mind you, but I love the species of snake intensely more after the way you would vlog it. Remind me the name of this snake.
The indigo snakes you're talking about, Drymarchon cooperi.
Yeah, but what was the name? There was a name for it.
Oh, Sunset.
Sunsets. I knew the species. I meant the name because you know Cusco is one of those guys who does name his snakes. Every snake, right? Every snake has a name, right?
Yeah. Every snake, unless it's one that I'm planning, you know, a baby that I'm planning to sell, I try not to name those. Leia tries to name those, and I'm like, okay, but we can't name this one because I'm planning to put this snake on the market, but she'll still sometimes name it anyway. But yeah, in fact, actually, we just sold a blood python last week that she named right off the bat. She named it Feisty because this snake was just all over the place, and that actually caused like several people reached out, were like, I want Feisty. And so yeah, almost every snake gets a name, even the ones that are getting sold, it seems.
So Sunset, the Drimacon, right?
Yeah, he got carcinoma.
It came out of nowhere. First and foremost, it came out of nowhere, right? Because that snake seemed like it was just perfectly fine.
It was very aggressive. Yeah, it came up. He had a little lump, you know, and I scheduled a vet appointment down in Pismo or what that 5 cities area,
right?
And by the time his appointment came around, which was within the week, I want to say, the timeline escapes me at this point. That's the great thing about documenting like a lot of stuff on videos. I could go back and like, okay, it was from here to here, but I think it was about a week from the time I noticed it to the time I got to the vet, like more lumps had shown up, and the vet said that basically it was going to, you know, it was not really anything they could do. It was so aggressive, like it was attached to the stomach. Like they can't remove the snake's stomach because it's going to, and all the digestive tract, like the snake needs its digestive tract. But that was like, they're saying basically, if we're going to get rid of this, you have to take that all out, which we obviously can't do. So, yeah, so that was rough. They basically recommended that, you know, we euthanize because that he was going to go, and whether he goes quickly and goes to sleep peacefully or, you know, suffers to death, then those are the options. And it was rough because, I mean, I had wanted indigo snakes for a long time. Like I've been talking about getting them for years and years. And I remember I was even intrigued with them when I was a kid, and I go to the East Bay Vivarium, they'd stand out to me as like, whoa, that snake is like incredible. Yeah. And so I wanted them for a long, long time and went through a long process even to get that first pair. And of the two, he was more docile, and like I'd take him to the educational shows. I took the girl sometimes too, but she just would every now and then just like bite you randomly to let you know she's like, I'm done being held. But he was so confident. He had no defensiveness. He would just like, kids would hold him and he'd just do his little pose. They kind of like put their neck up like this and do this like, nyeh. And he would just cruise there like that and just hang out all day with kids. And I think that's because he was the male. I have noticed something that goes beyond individual snakes, because every individual snake does have its own temperament and personality that you can work out within the species. But what I've noticed as far as general traits in species is that with pythons, you know, the females get larger. And what I've noticed generally is that the females into adulthood tend to be a bit more confident and less like skittish, whereas the males tend to be generally a bit more like, I'm kind of like skittish. And I don't know if that has to do with size or not, but with Drymarchon, it's the opposite. And the females stay smaller and the males get bigger. So maybe that was the case, but either way, he was certainly the more confident snake of the two. And so, yeah, it was next. So of my two dream snakes, he was the favorite. You know, I'm sorry. Luckily, she doesn't have ears and doesn't understand English, but he was my favorite, and I just got left with her.
You don't know she doesn't understand what she's saying.
I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but she's never told me that she understands. In fact, if she starts talking to me, I think we might have a big problem on our hands. But
so what does Cusco do in a position that bums you out, right? And obviously there could be so many worse scenarios, but we're gonna obviously leave people alone. We're gonna talk within the hop. We're gonna talk within animals right now. So reptiles, right? like when something doesn't go your way, and there's so many things that can't go your way, right? Reptile keeper problems, right? Snake won't eat, bad egg. But what is something you like? What is a remedy you have, Cusco? I mean, I feel like I could just call you and you get me out of a bad mood. That's why I'm asking you. You know, what's something that snaps you out of a funk, like something that can be a funk, but you won't allow it to be a funk.
Well, these days it's different than it was most of my life, but these days it's that relationship with God, bro. I pray. I go to scripture, and it just gives me that perspective, that more eternal perspective of, and I was blessed with this perspective even before I had that relationship. That was already kind of there, but it just got intensified 100-fold. And it's just knowing that we're in a broken world. There's death, there's bad things, there's demons running rampant. It's a it's a messed up place in a lot of ways. I mean, that's, nobody here can argue that factually. It's a messed up place that we live in right now. It is just torn up, you know. I mean, but there's still beauty. There's still plenty of moments of beauty. Heaven and earth, I think, still come and connect in little tiny spots here and there. I've felt it. I've seen it. You know, there's just these little pockets of heaven that pop up on earth still. But in a lot of ways, it's just a big broken. And having that realization, understanding it's just broken. And so there is an eternal fix coming. So I just focus there. I focus. That's how I get through it, is knowing that this is temporary and it's not forever. Any of those moments, like that snake died, it was bad. It was horrible. But we move forward as we're still here. You know, I don't let it. And different things, some things can come that are harder than that. I mean, like what happened in Florida last month with that guy having his whole, that was horrendous. You know, that's way more devastating than losing one snake to cancer. That was natural. That's way more devastating. But I would go through the same process if it was something like that. You know, heaven forbid one of my children doesn't outlive me. Like, how would I process that? That would be, for me, that would be the ultimate sadness that I think I could experience on this earth is that.
My dad's always told me that. My dad's like, my father's nightmare is having to bury a kid before he buries himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I used to always think like, wow, dad's dark, but you know, he just always tells me, like, he's like when he was telling me to be careful and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Well, it's a reality, you know, that happens. I've know some people. I was at a Bible study this morning with a gentleman who, you know, lost a kid that was still in the single digits age, you know, to like childhood cancer. And to see him where he's at now, you know, he still has a heart for his boy and sadness there, but he didn't give up on life, which is, if there was any moment, any situation that could get me to that kind of darkness, it would be something like that, I think. You know, because it's like you would think about them every day, and I'm sure he does too. And how do you get past something like that? And you look to God.
You know, because like it's human naturally looks for something. I mean, because life's gonna just continue on, right? Like you see all those movies where something like an action movie where the hero loses his family from the villain or whatever, but like everything could just be wiped away from you just like that. And life just goes on still, you know. I just realized how quickly that could happen when working with animals, because ball pythons was just not enough for me at all. And only because how much more I wanted to continue my knowledge with reptiles. But eventually, as you play with fire, you do get burned. And quickly, as I was getting into the imports, sure enough, you know, things out of my control were just dying, you know. But like, man, I literally... Man, I love my wife for sticking with me, who was my fiance at that time. Maybe even my girlfriend. No, she was my fiance at that time. But literally, man, I would be so, if something died, I would be so mad, bro. Like she would hear me yell and she wouldn't come near me. She wouldn't come near me for like, until I was like ready to go to bed, super high and in the nicest mood. And then she'd be like, "Are you good now?" And I'm like, and I would tell her, this is what happened. She's like, "Yeah, I knew something happened because I hear you." And I'm just like, you know, and then mind you, it's like 2017 era. But now, like, you know, like one of the most recent disasters I dealt with was when I moved in here in January, and I had my subadult rack overheat, and I lost 5 snakes. And I was like, you know, I was really upset, you know, but just really happy, thinking like, wow, that could have been the whole rack. I mean, I had 50 snakes in that rack, you know, and, you know, 5, I wish none of those would have died, you know, but man, imagine 6, 7, 8, and it could go all the way up to shit. That rack could have just started a whole fire, and it just could have just in my new house, you know what I mean? Like, so I just always think of how much worse things could be, you know? So that's like my go-to is like, dude, because first and foremost, like, I always felt like I needed a bitch to somebody. Like I needed to like, look what just happened, you know? And I just feel like that's okay. You know, be careful who you do that to, because, you know, because then you'll just know right away. Not everyone cares, because so many people have things happening to them, you know? I still share some of the disasters that happen within my own collection, because I do feel like, hey, I like to give you guys the heads up more than anything, you know, and that's why I like sharing it. But it just gets it off my chest. I don't know how people could have disasters happen to them within like the hobby of the animals, and just like keep that in, because I mean, and you know, do your thing. But I felt like that was kind of a norm, especially back in the day before social media. Like disasters were hidden and stuff like that, from what I could predict. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't in the group back then, but what do you think?
Well, holding things in like that, I would say, is more unhealthy than healthy. Certainly, to just keep things like that in.
Yeah.
When you put things out there and get them in the light, that's how you process them better. You know, is put them out there. And you know, we're talking about the struggles and the different downfalls and the setbacks and all those things along the way. I think give contrast to when you're having success. You know, any really, really successful person out there who's, you know, made it, that's out there doing what they love and living their dream essentially, and their passion, and they're doing what they want to do, and it's made them great success. You ask any one of those people like how many failures they had along the way, and they're all going to tell you that they failed time and time, that their failures were more numerous than their successes. And that's not the part that people always look at. And when they see something, they find somebody like, you know, they get to that point where a lot of people recognize them, like a famous actor or something, or somebody who's got to this point in the spotlight where lots of people know them because of how successful they become at this. They didn't see how many times they fell on their face on the way to that spot. And pretty much all of them did. I mean, I've never heard of any success story out there where the person didn't fall on their face all the way there. So it gives you that perspective too, to like have like, this is great because I've been at the low, and it makes the high even higher if you hit those lows like that. And just to comment on what you said earlier, that used to be my go-to as well. Like if things are bad, my go-to mindset was always, well, it could be worse.
So we could also say failure, depending on how you look on it and what failure who it affects, it could be negative.
Like failure is generally a negative thing. Yeah, I'd say
it is, you know, I mean, cause like, for instance, like here's one thing where, I mean, it would suck, but I would just keep it moving. And let's say I pair some of these snakes up, I come in, the male's dead. And I'm like, God damn it. You know, like, you know, I feel like whenever something like that happens, I feel like something good eventually. I always feel like there's a new wave coming, right? So that, you know, always like, and also it could be worse. The female could be dead too, right? Obviously, what kind of stresses me out in a situation like that is how, you know, I'm getting it tested, and I just want that test back just to show me that, okay, it died of whatever the hell it died, but it wasn't Nido, crypto, anything else. You know what I mean? So, but either way, that could be something where I feel like something good could be coming, right? And there's failures where like somebody fucking DUI or some shit, or just something where like, damn, that's a bad one, you know. But honestly, like, you could come back from this. We could all learn to not drink and drive, or, you know, I'm like, that's just an example, right?
Hopefully you don't. Yeah, hopefully you don't take somebody else out in the process.
But like, but that's a damper. Like I know so many people have DUIs, right? And but it's still like a worse thing to get. Like I always tell them, please don't ever get a DUI. Like, so expensive, and it's just like will ruin your life, because you have to depend on rides for over a year, and it just takes everything out of your life. It sucks. So anyways, you're not going to be a piece of shit forever if that happens to you, right? Like you get through it and you move on, right?
Hopefully.
But you address it though, right? Like, okay, for instance, you have to, because the court tells you have to go do this, you have to do that, you have to pay this. There's things you have to do when you get a DUI. Am I right? Like, there's things you have to face. I mean, not that you've ever had one, but I've had one. So I'm telling you, you think you can't just fucking have a DUI, get popped, and say, okay, fuck it, I'm never gonna address it. You have to address it, right?
Well, I mean, there is that choice as well. It leads to not necessarily anything good, but
a warrant. But
that choice is certainly there.
But there's people after you. But I'm saying you're not going to have a good life. You're like you have a warrant out for your arrest now. Like, it's like, what, you can't drive. You one pulled over. You know, you're done. You know, they're going to get you. They always get you. Let me just tell you that they always, especially if you're in Cali, they always find a way to get you. Cali's really, really, really good at that. Okay. But what I'm trying to say is there's consequences, right? Now I'm bridging this into the animal game because I got very, here's the thing too, Brian, you've known me for a long time. Brian, you've got to say, we've had maybe a couple good heart-to-hearts. Most recent one, I think, was the one that happened in January. Most recently, we sat outside and felt really good because you've seen my path, you've seen my journey really close. I mean, you see me grow through this shit. I mean, you've been a part of this show. I think episode 4, I believe you were. But anyways, like, you've seen like a lot of things that I've gone through. But you know, also, like, I could kind of like, I could be negative. And that's one thing. Like, I noticed that negativity is something I could partake in, right? So I ride that line very careful now. Like, I try to look at what it is that is quote unquote negative. I'm like, should I go in on this? Because people are going to just automatically assume you're just being negative. Okay. And the one thing that I'm having a hard time just swallowing the pill on is whenever we have some sort of animal neglect within our industry, within our own reptile industry, and it's out there, regardless who's putting it out, regardless who's saying it, it is factual. And it makes me and a bunch of other people feel some type of way. Okay.
I hear you.
But what do we like? What am I supposed to do? Just like, because I first and foremost, I don't want to get no one tossed under the bus. I feel like this is such a dicey and like sensitive topic only because the person that I quote unquote have an issue working with reptiles still does business with a lot of big names, and it's hidden. It's like, it's just, you know, so I don't know, man. What do we do? How do I find a way to fucking not feel the way I feel right now? Because I want unity, man. Like, this is a problem for reptile keepers, is we find something that we don't agree on, and we think we should all not agree on animal. We should all look around and think, do we all disagree? Or excuse me, do you all agree that neglecting any animal is bad? Okay. But then you have that one person says, nah, it's not that bad. And there you go. That's one person that decided against everyone. And then now there's more people that decide. And next thing you know, it's divided, right? And I'm not trying to divide anything, but I feel strong on this topic here, right? And I feel like, you know, it sucks. I can't even have my Retic episode Tuesdays because this is all really revolving around the Retic world right now and how I feel. But what do I, you know, how do I delegate this, Brian, without having to look like, oh, MJ's just being negative, you know, because it's just, my heart is just so connected with the animals, and you have mainlands, like you have beautiful mainlands. So, I mean, yeah, tell me how you feel about that.
Delegate might be, I don't know if that's the word you wanted to use, but it actually kind of makes sense when I thought about it. When as you were saying that, I was like, delegate, I don't know if that works, but actually delegate might be the answer there, because when it comes to, if you're having an issue with how one individual is keeping, then you want to go to that person directly. Now, if that doesn't work, that's when you start to delegate, and you say, well, does anybody else see how this is wrong with me here? And then you go, and this is biblical, by the way, and you go with that with another, you bring another person. You know, somebody's done wrong, and they don't want to repent for it, then if they won't listen to you individually, you start to get a delegation going, and you have, okay, well, I'm going to come with this person, and you just keep bringing in another person. I'm not saying you do this like it doesn't have to be a public way that brings a lot of negative attention where it's not necessarily needed to alleviate the situation, but you go to that individual, yourself. And then if that doesn't work, you bring another person. If that doesn't work, you bring another person until you have however many people it takes to get that person to repent. And if they never do, then, I mean, you're not in control of other people. So, but you can delegate, and delegating means, you know, taking your thing and handing off some of the responsibility to somebody else as well, instead of just yourself. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
It makes a lot of sense. And delegating could just be very dangerous depending on the individual. I felt like somebody I had on, who's a good friend of ours, was really, you know, in a position where, you know, it no matter what he said, someone was going to not be happy with what came out of his mouth, you know?
Oh, well, that's true of anything anybody says. I don't care what you say. There's going to be somebody that's not going to be okay with what you said. That's just
right. And that's obviously what comes with the territory, with what we do. And especially with you interviewing people. And I want to say, man, I don't know what it is about me getting throwback shit lately in my feed. Like, okay, for instance, shout out to Brian, love you, Brian Barczyk. You know, there's the GoFundMe link to support the Legacy Aquarium in the description below. But oh my God, my mind went blank. Fuck, I tried being professional there. What were we just talking about? Hold on.
Well, you moved on to
come on.
Well, my mind went blank too. Talking about Brian.
Come on, this was important. No, hold on.
Hold on. Okay, you said okay. So I got to go back before you said Brian, because that shit.
Why did I even bring up Brian? God dang! I mean, I love him, but why did I bring him up? Oh my God, I lost it. What I just say before Brian Barczyk?
What you were talking about? You had somebody on, and
yes. Oh, got it. I got it. Woo! Okay. Got it. Yes, happens every time. So, anyways, I don't know what it was about. You know, because I've always watched Barczyk stuff, but now I'm just like, I wake up in the morning, but as soon as that thing posts, I watch it. So it's been throwing me like throwback, like Barczyk videos from like years ago, like fucking 6-7 years ago, right? But then I was also getting old stuff from you, and I would say yours is like 3 years ago. I gotta say, man, that Sean Bradley interview, I was very curious about it, because I was like, man, this is like, look how long ago this was, and you guys sat down and. I kind of saw the personality of that guy, where there were some laughs in that interview. I'm not gonna lie, man, but I was like, holy shit,
funny dude.
It gave me respect to like, damn, you had this sit down. But then there was multiple interviews after that, and I've always known you sat down with almost everybody. I know you have, but then, you know, you've actually sat down with Samson. You sat down with this guy. I feel like even during that time, he was having allegations about the dog thing and whatever. And I don't want to say he came on your show to clear his name, but he did come on the show and just like, what is that? We good? Are we good?
I feel good.
Sorry, my screen weirdly went dark. But anyways, it just it was like I was like, oh man, I remember definitely during that time, I'm like, I don't know, I could never carry that kind of interview, you know, like that's nuts. But let me ask you,
we have very different interviewing styles, you and I.
Yeah, but still, like, I mean, either way, that is true. But still, like, I respected that you were that guy to do that interview.
Well, I'll tell you why I did. He was at the show. You know, he had a booth at the show, right. And there was a whole, like, as you might expect, there was a whole like host of people that were, you know, posting things on like actual physical
I remember that,
like, pamphlets and stuff, and just all stuff, and lots of people talking, but nobody actually like addressing him directly.
Yeah,
and so I was like, I mean, I get it. You know, that happens. But I was like, okay, everybody's talking, nobody's actually like addressing him. So I was like, hey, I want you. Will you come over here and like I want to hear what you have to say. Because I'm hearing what everybody else does to say about you. So, you know, I tried to do a bit of research and dive in, like see what I was.
You brought him on with that type of energy. I thought that was just another interview. So you brought him on because of all the negativity being on his name,
right? And that no one was actually going up to his booth and talking to him about that. You know, so yeah.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. Here we are. You know, 4 years later, and now like there's recent pictures surfacing from ex-employees to just recently leaving his place. So there's all now it's like, here we are again, right? Does this need to be addressed to him at this point again? I mean, if I were to bring him on, would that be like really negative? I mean, obviously I would keep coaching from you, but I'm serious. Like, what do we do at this point to kind of connect some dots to the real root of the situation here. And to anyone out there who wants to sit here and say we have bigger problems out there, well, yeah, we're always going to have bigger problems. And this is my platform where I feel like this is a huge problem. Because at the end of the day, like I said, he uses shipping companies and other stuff that we all support. So I don't know. What do we do, Brian? I'm curious, and especially because that was your timing on everything then, and here we are now. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you this: if you don't want somebody in your world, you don't bring them into it. That's for certain. I believe that. Like if you think that somebody is beyond reproach, or not beyond reproach, the opposite of beyond reproach,
beyond repair.
Yeah, sure. And you don't want them to be any part of the world that you live in. I think the best course of action there is to not make them part of your world. That's my personal opinion on that. If you want to come to some kind of, because if you have them on, then that's a platform, and there's no such thing as negative. Well, there's no such thing as bad publicity or something. Like, I don't remember how the quote goes, but it's true. Like even
look at all that for a while. I remember you saying that.
Yeah, there's something along the lines. I'm messing it up, but like getting any kind of publicity, even if it's bad publicity, is not necessarily bad for business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but we're also people who can advise others based off our awareness, like just based off us not wanting any of this to affect them. And I'm just saying it, for instance, like I remember I had somebody on who was the guy I was getting all my import animals from, and he was taking care of me, but on the back end, he was doing a lot of people dirty. And I didn't really know how bad it was until my Patreon family started growing and they were going through him. And, obviously they have relationships with me. So they'd be like, hey, MJ, yeah, man, I didn't want to come to you, but this is like the fourth snake. And I'm like that this guy that you brought up on this episode, I've been going to him, and it was just one after another. And I was like, oh, and this is all because I was like, dude, this is where I get all my imports from. And like, yeah, he's the man. And I've had other people who shout out to Warren Booth, but I remember Warren Booth came to me and was like, hey, MJ, just so you know, like this guy hasn't done a lot of people nearly as good as you, and just be careful. And I remember at the time was this typical MJ. It's like, whatever. He's my friend. He hooks me up. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm going to bring him on the show more,
Warren's a pretty cool cat.
Yeah. Warren's a really good cat, and good to have in the phone book. You know what I mean? I love talking to Warren.
Good to have in the hobby.
Facts. I guess I was a selfish good one I was talking about, but yeah, good to have in the hobby. But anyways, it's crazy how powerful our advice could be on a platform like this. You know what I mean? So that's why, and first and foremost, like I have a close, not to tell you this, but I have a really close relationship to mainland rejects. I love letting go of my mainlands, where it was one of the toughest things I had to do, but only because I refused to see any kind of pushing or any kind of neglect towards that snake. They went to the perfect homes, and then when I see that not really kind of being on that, and like I said, everyone has their own type of keeping, standards and whatnot, but fuck, man, no snake should deserve to live a life like that, especially for this many
years. To take mine out and have them climb in the trees. That's pretty fun to watch that happen. Let me tell you what.
But for this many years, Brian, is what I'm saying. Like this many years, there's pictures of snakes that are just in the most miserable conditions. And like, I don't know. I just feel like it's too close to home not to address. I feel like same way you address, even though we're not in a reptile show, we're on a reptile show, talk show. And I don't know. Fuck, it'd be cool. I don't know if it'd be cool, but me, you and him or something. I don't know, but it's like, I don't know. But then again, here on the flip side is there like the other shoulder saying, leave it alone and just leave it be. But then I'm just like, am I doing the right thing by doing that? That's kind of what we're at right now with this problem. I feel like.
Well, that's a tough one, man. That's one that I also don't really want to touch all that much. Honestly, I mean, yeah, I've had him on the show or whatever, but I don't know. And then you talk about pictures. I mean, I don't know anything more than other folks. I mean, I'm just gonna play devil's advocate here, sure. And like if you came down in the morning to a tub that I hadn't cleaned yet and took a picture of it in that state before I cleaned it and said, this is how Brian keeps his snakes, That wouldn't be good. Like, because there's times when I
It's
come down here
Brian,
and
Brian,
it looks
Brian.
they're like living in a cesspool. I'm just saying that's
Brian.
I don't. So that's
you
all I
seen-
have to know about
Have you
it.
seen anything of this? Like, do you want?
I haven't. I haven't.
Okay. R&B. Hold on one second. I'm not gonna play the video or anything. I'm just like gonna make this really simple. Hold on, because I just feel like there's so many. Like, I get it. Like, trust me, I have certain. I have certain. How do I do this without like? Oh my god, this is so bad. Okay, just like I just have certain.
Are you sending me something? What's happening?
No, I'm just like it's like this is shocking to me. Like, it just makes my heart hurt. Okay, so watch this. Okay, but I'm just certain that no matter how, like, I know there's snakes that just blast your cage and really make it just all jacked up and disgusting. But I'm certain nothing should look like this. Okay, like nothing should have like. Hold on, let me skip this real quick. Let me skip this. I don't even know I don't know what the hell that is. But look. Okay, you're not nothing is going to look like that in any tubs that you have, no matter how bad the shit is.
That's a dead snake right there.
It's really dead. Hold on, it gets worse. You know what I mean? And I'm just saying, like, you're just totally right. You can come down in any worst timing of anyone's room and take pictures and be like, oh, what the like look at the cobwebs right there. Anyways, I'm just saying, it's beyond all that. Like, hey, like, devil advocate, at this point, you're just like, you're not seeing the writing on the wall. You know what I mean? And for whatever reason, and that's why it's just yeah, bro, I don't know. Like see that? Like, this is a tub. That there's literally a regurged rat in the deli cup with who knows how old that piece of turd is right there in the corner. And I'm judging based off the way that snake's body's bent right there like that on top left. I'm pretty sure that snake's dead. I'm pretty sure it's a dead snake. Which, like I said, like, I get what you're saying. Like, that's
pretty horrendous.
I get what you're saying, Brian. Like, it's unfair to go to anyone's place and snap shot, but like this right here is just, and this is just going to the documentation full of stuff like that he's had condition wise. You know what I mean? And like I said, I remember feeling some type of way about him back when you interviewed him. And I'm just like, what made me just say, fuck it, was like how here he is still getting interviewed on people's show. But he's still allowed at shows, not all now. But he's allowed to just do his thing. So yeah, as I was really a no name, and just like, whatever, who am I to say anything? I kind of let it go. But now here we are, 2023, where I commend and try to find the best big breeders, big keepers in the game to come to this show. But then when we see something that just is a problem, like, why is the retic world such a problem? You know what I mean? And there's just many it's just like, dude, this is I don't know. It just bugs me, bud. It really does.
Well, so your best course of action there, I think, is to not do business and encourage others to not also, if it's that bad, that's how you do it. You don't spend money there. You encourage others, because you can have however much influence you have, maybe speak to, like, if everybody was not okay, like, was aware of that, and it was made aware, then if all the vendors are like, well, I'm not going to go to that show, if he's vending that show, then the promoter would be forced essentially to be like, well, I need all my vendors to come to this show. So if nobody's coming, then they have to make a choice at that point, right? If they want their show to happen. So, yeah. And that's what I'm talking about with the delegation and, and doing that stuff. And if it's as bad as it looks in those pics, that might not be a bad idea.
I'm telling you, because listen, I just feel like there needs to be some sort of policing, not from US ARC, but if US ARC stands for what we need, which is protection, they shouldn't allow any of this shit to be attached to them. I mean, not that they sponsored this guy or whatever, but still, like, he has US ARC stuff on his table and all sorts of stuff. You know what I mean? What if the wrong group of people come across his facility someday, which you can't X out? You can't say that's impossible, No, it's very possible. That's the worst thing possible, obviously, right? But
I'm definitely not saying it's impossible, but yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying, like, where do you know? I hate hypocrites, buddy. I really do, man. And
well, hopefully we wouldn't all get condemned for the worst among us, which we already have been in a way.
You just can't get worse than like harming a child and harming an animal in my eyes. Those are the like. There's so many like. Oh, no one's perfect, right? Okay, yeah, you overprice somebody there. Obviously this is a bad case, but you owe this guy this many snakes and never sent it to him or whatever, right? There's so many like, you're a bad guy for that, right? But then there's like, what a piece of shit. Like this is like, I'm trying to be very forgiving in my time. I really do, but in my eyes, there's just like, I wish. Oh wow, look who that is. Hi. T, can she hear me? She can't hear me.
I can make it so she can hear you. Hold on a sec.
Oh my gosh, it's T.
I think I can do that. I think I have to go to my settings. Let me make sure I can do this without messing everything up. I want to make it so she can hear you.
Oh, I'm excited. I love this. I love this girl right here, man. Let's see if she remembers me.
There we go. She can hear you now.
T, Leia, can you hear me?
Yep.
Do you remember me? MJ, do you remember me?
She can't see you, but hold on. There you go.
Do you remember me? You don't, huh? Remember we went to the ocean together? Oh my God, you were so little. How old are you now?
5.
Oh my God. How do you feel about being a big sister?
Good.
You're no longer the youngest little Cusco in the family. You're a big sister.
Of course I am.
Hey, I have a big sister and she's like my best friend, just so you know.
No.
Yeah. Are you in school?
No.
Is she or no? I'm sorry. What did she say? No or yes? No school? Okay. Well, I think you're awesome and stay young forever. Love you.
I'm not young anymore.
You are tiny. You're forever tiny.
No, I'm not.
Hey, do you love snakes?
Of course I do.
Would you? Okay, that's all I needed. Love you. Have a good night.
Thanks.
I was gonna ask you a too difficult of a question right now, and I don't want to put you in there. You're good. Okay.
All right, T. 5 minutes. We're gonna go. Okay.
Yeah, we're almost done. I got a wrap up question for your dad, and we'll talk later. Thank you, Leia. We can hang out right here. It's totally fine. But anyways, Brian, listen. Problems are always gonna come and go. Like I said, this right here, if no one does anything they don't want to do, this could just be not talked about within a couple weeks. Just like everything else. So I don't know. I guess this to be continued. I know you have family stuff I want you to go do and you need to do and whatnot.
Here, let me put this on my headphones. That way you don't feel like you have to.
Yeah,
mince your words. One sec. Audio.
Hi, Leia. You're awesome. Bye, T.
Speaker.
Big T. T.
Oh, let me push you back in the speakers. There you go. One more
T.
time.
T. T for T. T. Bye.
Hey, it goes this is bottom.
Upside down T? Upside down T?
You're being a ding dong. I'm taking you off the speaker. Oh, you funny little girl. Sorry, bro. I know I really would like to. I mean, I do enjoy these chats we have, and I'm sorry I don't have more time tonight, but
it's all good.
We will do one where we can have an unlimited one of those 3-hour things where we'll just hang out and just chill, no time limits. We'll do that. That's
definitely needed. Definitely needed. Brian, I got to say, will you be at Anaheim Super Show? Any of the shows coming up by chance, just so people can have the heads up?
Oh yeah, definitely going to Anaheim Super Show, 100%.
Okay, and also you're still, doing things on both channels right now on YouTube. Your Brian Cusco channel and Triple B still, full blown putting out content on what is it, every other day, or how much content is being put out on YouTube at this point?
Two videos a week on the vlog channel, the self-titled Brian Cusco channel. One live stream on Tuesdays just before your show on Triple B TV. We've got the Whiskey Wimps channel that goes up every Wednesday, and then I'm also producing Freedom Breeder channel, and that goes up every Thursday, and actually it's a 0816 by the way is what you got, an 0816-90.
Oh, that's what I have.
That's what you got. Yeah.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. No, listen, honestly, by the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for who you are, what you do, and keep doing your thing. Appreciate you, Brian Cusco. We'll see him soon, but give it up for my buddy good friend, the industry's hippie, Brian Cusco.
Love you, bro.
All right, man. Have a good night. Thank you.
You too, man.
Dad life, man. What a life. But I'm not a dad yet, so I could keep talking. No, listen. I mean, it's been really difficult, guys. And if anyone out there is in the dark, if there's people now that it's just me, I can just say names and do whatever I want. Not that I couldn't before, but now I'm just so careful because I'm like, oh, now if I, because at the end of the day, when I want to ask somebody a question, I want a genuine answer. Like if I'm gonna bring someone on a show and I ask them a question, I would hope not only for myself but for you out there, the viewers, get a genuine answer. And when I feel I don't get that from that person, I feel like what's the point of even asking, right? And I always feel like, of course, it's all about people protecting their name, protecting their relationship, right? And I get that's politics. But for instance, I mean, and yeah, I have to be careful with politics because who's my sponsors and stuff like that, right? And even who I respect and care about, right? Like, we all know, I don't want to say we all, but my good buddy Garrett Hartle came on the show 2 weeks ago, and I brought up this Sansom character just because his name was attached to him, and it went into this rabbit hole, which I wasn't trying to go down. I just wasn't getting an answer. And so, anytime I'm in a position like that, I'm going to seek for for a genuine answer regarding animal neglect. Like, and if we're, and think about it, if we're all US ARC supporters for the most part, and we all do what we have to do to get US ARC to continue the fight for us, and we fight with us, right? But what is good when the animals, which animals is inside United States in US ARC, right? But when the animals isn't the number one priority to the keeper, right? And it's on a scale of like big, massive, like snakes and just a lot. Like that's like there has to be someone way bigger than me that's not okay with this, right? But why doesn't nobody have a platform that they could just go on to say like, yeah, this is bullshit, So I almost felt like after bringing Garrett on, and even after the last Retic episode I had, like, it's like, man, everyone, like, it's such a touchy thing, the Retic world. Like, it's such a, like, because they're all, I don't want to say they're all, okay, because they're not all. There's, like I said, but it's such a dirty world. Like, there's, like, you got people who say, okay, yeah, I don't fuck that. That's wrong. I don't believe in that. But really on the back end, they're doing business. You know what I mean? Like that right there is like, well, one of the biggest sayings they say how you support somebody is you vote with your dollar, which is probably the most accurate thing. Like how do you keep someone accurate or not accurate? How do you keep somebody relevant? You pay them, give them money. So this guy's obviously getting money. You know what I mean? And what pissed this guy off is that, the nerve that somebody actually had the fact that somebody had the nerve to come up and kind of say something that didn't make not make this person look good. It was a big problem, So yeah, that all got fucked up. I'm not gonna lie. That all got jacked up. Because I'm not gonna lie, if me and Garrett, first and foremost, it sucked that I had to take the whole episode about that because there was, Garrett is like, no matter what who the fuck anything has to say about Garrett, he has such amazing next level locality Retic stuff that he is just a legend for having. He also has some of the best people in the game working for him. So his surroundings good. Everything's good with Garrett Hartle, But if I didn't have Garrett on that live after kind of going in for a couple hours, me and him for sure could have kept talking at least a good 2 hours on that matter. Because, I don't know, like not everyone really signs up for the position that they get in what they do, but somebody has to say something at some point. Somebody has to say, fuck that. Like, nah, I'm not good with that. And no matter what the other person wants to come at you with, if you got nothing to worry about, who gives a shit, And I get it. It's negative, it's drama. Well, you know what? Also, it's protecting fucking animals. So I don't, I'm so over people who want to come and comment and saying, oh, this guy MJ only he's only talking about drama, which is fucking stupid. I for one thing care about the fucking animals, you know, and if I know that there's some sort of pocket to fill where we could maybe get some sort of exposure on who not to do business with, and I'm always gonna fucking speak up on that. I don't care, you know. I don't care. But I gotta say, man, the bigger names, I'm not gonna say any individual names, but the more we get some bigger names out of this hobby, the better we're gonna be. Trust me. And I would like to say into it only because I respect certain people now. I won't tell you individual facts, but I will say that there are big distributors, there's big animal, there's big reptile sellers on the web who's been around forever, and I mean forever, okay? And they do people dirty, sell you the wrong snake, sell you a snake with crypto or Nido or fucking BDI or whatever, you name it. The list goes on, and they could still keep selling snakes, right? Like the Samson guy, doesn't matter. Doesn't make, like, here's the thing. It's like, I almost was like, dude, you really, here you go. You kicked yourself in the ass again, because nothing's going to change. Nothing will change. You could talk shit all you want. Like, look at those fucking guys, you know, whoever the fuck trying to take me out. Like, you know what I mean? And it didn't happen. You know what I mean? So here I am. So that's why I was like, you know, all that for nothing. But at the end of the day, like, I don't even know. I just think I will always keep my business clean. And what I mean by that is, like, obviously I can't help if certain snakes that I produce or have or whatever get in certain people's hands. Like, I can't, but I do know, like, the story behind that snake could leak back to me, showing everything was like in a good place and good position, you know? And I think if you always have that in this game, you're nothing you need to worry about, right? That's why I'm almost kind of like, well, fuck, first and foremost, I would never even, not that I sticker swap, but I wouldn't even sticker swap the Samson guy. I wouldn't want my sticker even in your facility. Are you kidding me? And you know what's crazy is, like, Cusco's like, you know, he brings up a good point, because I do remember that reptile show, and I don't want to say the names, but there was these people who were just kind of like, you know, they were kind of like fucking, they were kind of full of themselves, but there was they were common faces at shows, but they were the ones behind, like, putting Samson's fucking picture up everywhere, which I get. I mean, I was like, yeah, that's good awareness, but nobody actually went up to him. For sure, 110%. Not that I would ever do this. And if I'm gonna print your picture out and say fuck this guy or whatever, I'm telling you first. And if you still show up, well, then whatever. But that right there is pretty whack. Like, how are you gonna, like, that's like some, like, little girl child, and mind you, it was a girl who did that, but it was like, the fuck, you know? So here I am, who, you know, what I'm trying to say is, am I being a little girl? Like, the fact that I haven't told this guy to his face, because I mean, I want to, I just don't want to do it and get his more recognition on the show, or maybe it is, I don't know. I don't think I could have it in me, but I would definitely, yeah, definitely just say what I need to say to him. Because I mean, you just can't. I mean, unless, I don't know, photos. From what I've seen, photos that are out, photos that are just now getting put together into a video, okay, it's gonna, you know. And then I have, you know, and what sucks is, like, I even have certain retic people that almost don't want to fully disassociate with me, but because I'm talking about this, they think it makes the whole retic world looks bad. Well, the fuck? So we just let it look bad and just let it burn? Like, I'm a part of this. Like, I could understand if I had no species of reticulated pythons, and fuck it. But no, hold on. Time out. And also, Samson's a guy to claim to have super dwarf shit that doesn't have super dwarf shit. So, like, we're only talking, like, about the most serious issues with this guy. Okay. But really, why I don't really like, where I'm like, well, fuck, what the fuck? Why is he even relevant to super dwarf shit? Because really, he has so much shit that's not even, like, oh man, there's too much on this guy. You know what I mean? And that affects my projects. And yeah, my projects equal money. You fuck with my money, then yeah. So you're an animal neglector. You fuck with people's projects. Okay, the The writing's on the wall there. Like, I don't. So, but I respect how people want to be low key, and I respect how people just like, I have a podcast, so I guess this is my excuse. But I feel like if I didn't have a podcast and my homie did, he's like invited me on the show and was like, hey, do you want to talk about this? I would be like, yeah, fuck that. I'm not cool with that. So, but I don't know. I gotta tell you, I was thinking, you know what? Maybe I should not do this Retic episode Tuesdays. It's a little too touchy, but no, honestly, this makes me want to even go harder on my Tuesday nights with the Retic stuff. You know, I love my boy Eric Lee, but Eric Lee, man, he's such a behind the scenes. Let me enjoy nature. Let me enjoy my time with my wife and just work out and do fasting. That's Eric Lee, and he produces sick shit. I mean, he's going to be still a part of my show, but I want Eric Lee not to have any kind of smoke coming from me. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just want to say I appreciate Eric Lee. Me and that guy have some sick ass snakes that we produce. He already came over and took his half, kept my half. So just be ready on that. SD Snow King, go give my boy Eric Lee a follow. But yeah, listen, at the end of the day, I feel like I've had plenty of shows where after the show, I felt like I said something. I was like, well, fuck, you know, there I said it. And I've had so many people come and tell me like, dude, I'm so glad you finally said that because somebody had to say it. And I'm like, well, fuck, good. You know, and I've had many of those. I wish I should jot them down how many of those I get. And I do know I kind of stretched the line a bit, but I don't know. Listen, this is my life. My life is animals. My life is reptiles. My life is bringing the best in my world to the show that I created to continue the knowledge behind what's behind me, in front of me, and around me, you know, because this is my living. I would have never thought this would be a living of mine, but guys, you could do this. This could be your life. Just kidding. Don't, you don't want my life. But I don't know. Listen, I'm just glad at the end of the day, we you know, it's all, you know, regardless what is done, what's not done, it's all in perspective on how you look at things, who's in your circle, who you choose to talk to, who you mess with. And that's what it's all about. I know no matter how bad things could get in the reptile industry, which I hope it doesn't, you know, I hope a lot of things get a lot better than what it is. You know, we just have each other, like everyone in the chats, like everyone who comes to all my podcasts and taps in, all the early birds, man. And guys, my bad, the early birds. I didn't even give you guys any kind of props today, dude. My bad, early birds. I love you guys all. But yeah, man, like it's just it's such an awesome thing how no matter what's happening here, if it doesn't affect you and you pay no attention to it, dude, enjoy your time. Who gives a fuck? Just stay in your own little world and bubble, right? And support US ARC. But like, here I go, right? This is why I feel like it's important to bring shit up like I brought up tonight, because I do support US ARC. But US ARC stands for the animals. I stand for US ARC. I stand for the animals. I stand for the best care of any living animal, because that's probably one of the most innocent things that's on earth is a living animal, especially one just taken out of the wild. Sorry. Wait, I think these are picked out of the wild. I don't know. God bless. But I don't know, man. I just know my life could be in a whole different position right now, but it's not because of animals. I owe so much to the animals. I owe everything to my wife, then the animals, then Capone and Delilah. And my Patreon members. I love my Patreon members. Like, they're my family that helps me push through. You know what I mean? Because we're a community. We just, dude, we're tight, man. We grow. We're growing together. That's another reason why you should join. Okay, we're going to get into some awesome things right now. This is going to be great. It's going to be kind of, some people might not like it, but it doesn't matter. So Patreon stuff, right? I try to do what I got to do, man, to just make my Patreon cracking. There's a lot of competition out there, really, with the ball python people, because really there's so much value to a soul. Like, I mean, and this is so much value to anyone who has crazy goals in the ball python game, right? Like, if you're just in the game and you want to try to eliminate mistakes and not take shortcuts, but if you could help yourself avoid certain things, then, like, you know, fucking RCR, right? Patreon, hard as fuck. You can learn a bunch of sick shit. Miguel's Patreon, hard as fuck. Justin's Patreon, hard as fuck, right? But that just kind of serves the ball python game. But if that's what you want to get served, then that's why those are like really top dog in what we do. Because, and I think about it, man, God bless all the ball python breeders out there. I mean, that's what got me into this, is the ball pythons. Ball pythons fed everything what's behind me. I mean, I wouldn't have any of this shit if it wasn't for the ball python. So those Patreon pages, worth investing 110% if you're in the ball python game. But one thing I love about my Patreon page, I will say that, yeah, you know, it's not all ball pythons, but I have some super heavy ball python keeper who are part of the family that have all the knowledge, the stock, whatever you name it, that goes down in my Patreon page. And then you go to chondros, then you go to emerald tree boas, then you even go to super dwarfs, you name it. Shit, there's boa constrictors, right? You know, there's so many different species that you can kind of get knowledge on and tap in with the Patreon. So I'm kind of getting to where I feel like my flex is coming. And I'm not going to lie, this flex landed in my lap, okay? And I don't give a fuck who this pisses off, because at the end of the day, I got approached this idea. The idea is put into my lap, and my boy said, run with it. And this is your thing. So this is my thing. Even though they're not my snakes, this is my thing, guys. And I hope you guys are ready, because I'm excited. Because anyways, perks, right? And what I'm saying, Patreon members, if you're a Patreon member right now, you're going to be stoked. You guys already have an idea, some of you out there, but one of the biggest reasons why I recommend joining my Patreon page is because you'll be one of the first to buy a raffle ticket. And if you're like, raffle ticket? Who the fuck wants a raffle ticket? Well, hold on. Slow down there, cowboy. I don't blame you. I'm not a raffle person either. I think this shit's a joke. But this is not an everyday type of raffle. I want to mention this is not an everyday type of raffle. And also, I've done a couple giveaways, okay? And I was so scared about who the snake was going to go to. I kind of like, I'm not going to lie. And mind you, I'm not in charge of this. I'm not pulling any names. I'm just the organizer, but I am not the one pulling the names, okay? Just so you know, because, yeah. But anyways, the time I did do a giveaway, I was so scared of who was going to get the snake that I clicked the button a few more times until I noticed a name that I felt would be safe to take the ball python. I cheated, okay? But I know who the snake went to, and they're so happy and they're having a good time. But I was like, dude, fuck. So where I'm getting at, these two snakes, which is a pair of snakes that we're going to raffle off, I told them, first and foremost, I did shut it down because I was like, bro, hell no. Because, okay, what if this fucking person who lives in a goddamn trailer who has a couple glass tanks with some heat rock wins this? What are we going to do? This is not, you would probably get shamed. You know what I mean? And he's like, well, no. He's like, well, this is why I'm coming to you. I want you to come up with an idea. So first and foremost, my idea for this raffle that my buddy's throwing, these are not my snakes. They're my dream snake. There are a lot of our dream snakes. They're a snake to where even if life is going in a good financial route for you, it still hurts to buy these snakes. It's like a baller's like, dude. My buddy Joey, who picked up a group of Bolin's pythons, I want to say about last year, has had, I want to say about 2.4, something like that, available. And now he's down to his final pair of Bolin's python. Okay. And these are well-established, guaranteed, well-established, been in his collection. I have a YouTube video of these snakes, actually. Beautiful Bolin's pythons. Okay. So check this out. Patreon members, if you go to the very first link below and you join the Trap Talk Patreon family, you will get first dibs on a raffle ticket. Okay. You get 2 raffle tickets each. You can buy up to 2 raffle tickets each. Okay. But $200 an entry, and you could literally win a pair of Bolin's pythons. Again, I am not pulling these names. I'm just organizing this shit. Okay. A lot more details to come, because this actual raffle will go live Monday of next week. Okay. But Patreon members get first dibs on getting raffle tickets before anyone else. But also, mind you, not anyone can just buy a raffle ticket for sure. I'm not gonna lie, man. I got a lot of people who are down. Like, I talked to Kabelka and like a bunch of homies that are like, hey, I want in on this. Because think about it. Why not? So at the end of the day, we want these to go to the right person, right? So we do unfortunately have to be a little bit picky about who buys a raffle. But at the end of the day, if you're Patreon and you could prove to me that you could take care of these animals and you're in the right place, then yeah, fucking let's go. You kidding me? But what a dream. Imagine coming up on a pair of Boelen's pythons, confirmed pair. Like these snakes as adults would be 20 grand each. Fuck. I mean, I don't have hopes of winning something like this, but I'll toss 200 in the bucket. Here, take my money. Fuck it. You kidding me? So anyways, Patreon members, hit me up. We'll just be ready because in the Discord, I'm going to drop details on what's going to happen with that. And man, I told everyone I was, done with these snake. I never did a raffle, mind you, but this feels like a giveaway and type thing, but it's not. I mean, shit, this is crazy. Also, what is as exciting is like, I don't know, there's so many great keepers in the industry that, they have good job. They have jobs, but just like, everyone's on a budget and these animals cost money. And think about it, it's a Boelen's. Not everyone has 10K to drop on a Boelen's python. Like, think about that. No, it's not the really reality. And why are they 10K? I don't fucking know. Well, we do know. I'm not gonna say any names. But cool, what an opportunity. So I just want to say shout out to my boy Joey. He's on Instagram as the Chondro Kid. A lot of you guys know him as Socrates' good friend of mine as well. So this isn't like some Joe Schmo random guy who's coming out of the blue saying, no, this is my good buddy. This is all validated. This is from somebody who has amazing chondros, amazing. Like I said, go to the trap vlogs, check out the video we did on the vlog I did on his house, and you'll see how it went down. It was really, really awesome. Takes care of his stuff. And yeah, I mean, just talk about a dream come true. So more details to come. But I'm like I said, man, Patreon members get first dibs. Mad Patreon members who deserve this pair of Boelen's. I can tell you that right now. Like I know like 20 off the top of my head. You know what I mean? But yeah, tap in. Let me know. Hit me up on Instagram too. If you have questions regarding, I mean, like, even if you don't want to join Patreon, it's fine. But like, if you have questions on what's to come with all that, just hit me up on IG or just wait till Monday. Cause Monday I will drop a post and, yeah, you guys will get more details on this and good luck to everyone. Fuck, that'd be sick. I feel like if I win, I feel I shouldn't even enter. I mean, just because how much that would piss people off like that right there. I mean, it's kind of worth it. Pair of Boelen's, like, all a day. All right, guys. I think that tonight went really well just because I wanted to go solo dolo tonight, but I love Brian. I love his opinion. I love his insight on things. And it was last minute to ask for him to come on. I think I hit him up earlier this week just because I was, I came fresh from Jamaica, Jamaica. Nobody warned me about the food in Jamaica. I mean, don't get me wrong, jerk chicken's bomb, but you can't have jerk chicken every day. Like, fuck, dude. Anyways, glad I'm not traveling anymore. I am so over traveling. I really am. Really, really am. And I know I'm going to be hypocritical right now because I have one event for sure I probably will go to if it all works out perfect. In a perfect world, I will be going to Animal Con, of course. I will be there for my boy Brian and Lori and anyone else who supports Animal Con for sure. So guys, go to animalconusa.com. I've already booked my hotel and just got that ready to go. But I'm looking forward to it because I know this year Animal Con is going to be cracking. It's going to be jumping and just be ready for that. I also want to say be ready because we are picking things back up. As far as my normal schedule, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, we'll be starting back normally Monday. Okay. I think I know who I'm bringing on for New Breed on the Block. Who am I bringing on? It's written down. Anyways, be ready. Either way, I got to tell you, Jamaica was cool, but I'm back. Feels good to be back. Brian Cusco, thank you so much for spending your hour of your evening with me. And thank you out there. Listen, I guess I am a little bit of a rookie right now. I didn't really do any early birds when we first started off. So I am sorry for that. And of course, my boy, Ricky Bobby, SRT, above all scales. I mean, you want to talk about a real top G. I got this guy to start an Instagram page called Above All Scales. And, you know, he was kind of timid because, like, you know, he loves the snakes and shit like that, right? But he's like, you know, I told him, I was like, man, try to get it cracking with the Instagram. And he disappeared. He did it hard for a minute. And then now he's taking like a complete like mental break, only because how really he's grinding and the G shit he's doing off social media. And that's like, I'm trying to be friends with people like that. You know, because at the end of the day, I get like, you know, my life is social media and a lot of people's life are social media, but social media just isn't real life, you know, like, I mean, yeah, it's a place to get information and knowledge, but really like, I mean, it's not the case, but what if these snakes really weren't taken care of? Like, what if everything behind me looked good, but you were to come over and like, oh my God, what's that? Right. So don't ever let the facade fool you. You know, don't ever think, wow, I wish I was that person. No, you don't. Don't ever say that because you don't know what that person's going through. You have no idea. It may look good on social media, and that's all social media fucks with you. Makes you feel like you're like less than other people because the way they portray their life. 8 out of 10, 8.5, 10 of those people are miserable. Okay. And those people who are constantly putting their life on like, hey, look what we're doing, like to the point where it's like extra is like, they're only doing it to make themselves feel better. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm wanting to share my fun and whatnot, but like, fuck, dude, social media is just not real life. So understand that. I want to say shout out to my dog again, Shane, for being a real one. Hit me up. Well, I'll talk to you. We'll talk soon. My boy Shane has heat. I'm not gonna lie. He has ball python heat that he picked up from me last year. But dude, he's picking up a chondro from me. I don't want to spill no more beans, but I have to tell him, bro, because you're not on Instagram. I'm just kidding. He's coming back. Go to Instagram right now. Go give Above All Scales a follow. If anyone could go blow him up, he's probably gonna be like, oh, what? No, I'm just kidding. He probably wouldn't give a fuck. But seriously, go give him a follow. Ricky Bobby SRT, my homie Shane, Above All Scales. Thank you for the support. My day one Trap Talk Patreon members. I want to say shout out to all my Patreon members again, guys. I'm really looking forward to the future with Patreon because, you know, as much as I love these lives and everything, I am totally sticking to my guns. I know I said this before, guys. I know I said this before. Hey, can you guys hear this, by the way? I'm just curious.
Sounds lucrative.
Did you guys hear that? It's my, like, I have these samples. Like, you want to hear something? Like, if I saw something really big.
I am the chosen.
Oh, wait, that was my Donald Trump one. You know what? We're not going to worry about that one. Anyways, I don't even know what I was saying right now. But yeah, so much amazing stuff coming to Patreon because I'm sticking to my guns about whatever live I do on YouTube will immediately become unlisted. So I'm going to do a live. You're in the live, you get to check it out, but then I'm going to go ahead and edit it, right? Yeah. Oh, what? Boo. MJ's editing his interviews. Well, better tune into the live or go to the Patreon because Patreon will always have access to the live, okay? So biggest thing other than this Bolin's raffle that's going down for my Patreon members right now is once you become a part of the Patreon family now, these lives that will become unlisted right after this, you'll be able to catch after I'm done editing and I upload it, okay? And then the video format of these interviews will now be on the video uploads because, yeah, guys, YouTube, you gotta start thinking, man. You gotta start thinking. YouTube don't give two shits about these lives. I mean, I love it. I like the lives because the people who tap in, shout out to all the super chats. Super chats help me eat. You know what I mean? So I appreciate all that, right? But I'm telling you, I feel like you gotta start using all the tools YouTube gives you, and if you're not using the tools, then they're gonna kind of ding you for it, right? Because I always think like, what is it that I'm doing wrong? Like, because I get like my views compared to like shit. YouTube subscribes of like over like 20,000. There's one with over 60,000 who has like 100 views on their, and it's like, how does that make any sense? Well, they use shorts, videos, and everything, and shorts could blow you up. And I'm giving you guys straight some game right now, so you're welcome, okay? But shorts will blow you up on YouTube if you use them, but you also have to use videos. You don't need lives are the one thing you don't need to blow up on YouTube. It's more of a like self-promoting community type thing for the live, okay? But it's documented. It's out there, and so many other big YouTubers talk, like academics talks about this. Big YouTubers talk about how lives don't pull in shit money wise from YouTube, but the video side does. So, anyways, huge perk again. One of the many perks of joining the Trap Talk Patreon family. first link that you see in the link below, in the description below, is being able to watch these fucking sick ass unedited lives, the raw deal live. Okay. Straight full MJ. I'm always going to be full MJ, but anyways, thank you guys so much. Again, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That way you're on top of every single live before it gets unlisted. But then videos, you know, I got my, dude, what do you guys think of my mental health segment with Socrates? I haven't talked to you guys about that. I mean, listen, as cheesy as it could be to some people because they think they got it all figured out, most of you don't. Fuck that. Most of you guys are miserable. So if you're one of those people, like especially how I was, check out those segments I do with Socrates. I'm telling you right now, we've had 2 of them so far, only coming out once a month. The guy's a busy guy, okay? So we're coming out with once a month. We come out with this mental health segment, but it's also like just ways to delegate and flow through life, man. My philosophy with Socrates. Guys, he's a G. And Socrates is a part of the Patreon family. I'm telling you right now, I have discount codes for his chondros. No, I don't. But if you tell him I sent you, he'll take care of you. Guys, be ready. Be alert. Stay on top of it. Love everyone, including yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, you can't love anything. Maybe your dog or your animal. That's a fact. You can literally be a miserable person, but still love an animal. This is why it makes no sense. And what I mean by that, it makes no sense on how you cannot take care of something that could take care of you in such a beautiful way. I owe everything to the animals. Ladies and gentlemen, it's about the animals. MJ has said this multiple times. And if it ain't about the animals, get that shit away from me. Go talk about other stuff. Okay. Shout out to the people who are pivoting in the podcast game because they know they're not relevant to reptiles. I'm checking out episode 335. Coolest reptile podcast in the world. I'll see you guys Monday. Cheers.